who has the power. The first steps toward the World Cup are about to be taken. The United States men's national team depends on youth to go with proven stars who have hopes soaring. To our country, the soccer world turns its attention now. The U.S. Cup is coming at you. The most important tournament U.S. soccer hosts begins at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. as South Africa meets the United States. Mexico and Ireland are also on American shores for U.S. Cup 2000, an 8-day round-robin tournament. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards. Glad you could be with us. Ty, against South Africa, the U.S. is looking to its captain.
Well, as I'm chanting for the USA, the traffic cop, the playmaker, the guy that works the ball around and finds the openings. And what a season he had for Rangers in Scotland this past winter.
Up front, South Africa can fly.
Benny McCarthy, one of the best forwards in all of Africa, who'd be wearing the number 17. He currently plays for Celta Vigo before he played for Ajax. Sean Bartlett, the all-time leading scorer for South Africa, used to play for the Metro Stars in MLS.
To open U.S. Cup 2000, it's the United States against South Africa, the world's oldest democracy against one of its youngest. The kick's coming up. We're back in a flash.
Fireman, the mayor of my town. The dude's hanging off of the paper truck. Mr. Chang, down at the local deli, sells me morning coffee, wishes me good luck. This is for the people in my neighborhood. They help me through the day and make me feel good. This spot's for you. And you and you and you. This spot's for you.
Allstate joins every sports fan in America in cheering the team that has beaten the world at its own game. This year, they know we're coming.
Amazing how lifting just 8 ounces a day can help keep your bones strong. Tropicana Pure Premium with calcium. The best 9.3 seconds you can possibly spend on yourself.
Hey, Mozart.
Hey, sweetie. Elijah, I have a test tomorrow.
It's believed that learning music early can help kids do better in math and science. So the simple act of learning to carry a tune can carry a kid a long, long way. Early Notes Music Education, proudly sponsored by Texaco.
Wanted one person to watch televised sports all day.
Job includes playing video games and receiving massages.
Salary $100,000 to $150,000.
So dependable, there are more of them out there working than any other small car.
Okay, come on, who's your daddy?
Cavalier, we'll be there.
What's this stuff?
Some cereal. Supposed to be good for you.
Did you try it?
I'm not gonna try it. You try it.
I'm not gonna try it.
Let's get Mikey.
Yeah.
He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey!
Wholesome whole grain oats, lightly sweetened. No one ever outgrows the terrific taste of life cereal. No wonder Mikeys of all ages like it.
I like it.
How much more simple can a case get? Why are we even bothering with a trial? Hey, look at me. Am I disturbing you?
Mr. Donald, do not address the juror.
Who should I be talking to? The wall? Maybe I should talk to the wall. This case is like pounding up against the wall.
They split two very different games in New Jersey. Now, the Devils face the Stars in Big D. The Stanley Cup Finals, Game 3, tonight on ABC. the United States versus South Africa soccer on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of U.S. Soccer. This Bud's for you. Tropicana, makers of Tropicana Season's Best and Tropicana Pure Premium. And Chevrolet, Chevy will be there.
U.S. Cup 2000 begins at RFK Stadium with this game between the U.S. and South Africa. In goal for South Africa, fixture Andre Arendse. Casey Keller for the U.S. in his 41st international start.
Full team starting off in a 4-4-2 and an experimental right back still. Tony Sane, number 17 for the USA from Hertha Berlin and formerly from DC United. In the midfield, Chris Armas, the ball winner for the USA from the Chicago Fire of MLS. And up front, Kobe Jones wearing the number 13 from the LA Galaxy of MLS. Already 3 goals, 2 assists for the USA in 2000.
The referee is Antonio Marufo of Mexico. The U.S. wearing all white at home. South Africa wearing the green. A spectacular day for soccer. Temperature in the mid-70s. Crisp air as the U.S. gets it underway. You'll notice a great difference in pace between these two teams. A challenge in midfield, and right away Ernie Stewart is taken down and a restart for the U.S. The United States tends to put a lot more pressure on the opponent in midfield than does South Africa. South Africa plays at a lower overall tempo but can accelerate as very few teams in the world can. They can go from 2 to 9 in about 2 steps, Ty.
The team speed of South Africa could be a problem today for the U.S. back four.
Ivan McKinley, who has played so well for the New England Revolution, knocking it out of bounds. McKinley, number 21 in green, for South Africa. Sane, a nice feed up ahead for Brian McBride, lays it off for Reyna, out onto the side for Sane. Chris Armas gives it away. David Kannemeyer. This is Ngobe. In the defense, Andrew Raputla trying a long ball, testing Jeff Agus right away, and Agus takes it down. Claudio Reyna. Long for Kobe Jones. Issa is there. This portion of the match is brought to you by Texaco. McKinley serving the ball down the wing. Sane and rather Yamosa taking it down. Where's Agus?
Critical matchup for the USA. Carlos Yamosa on Benny McCarthy and also Jeff Agus on Sean Bartlett. Agus knows Bartlett from Bartlett's MLS days with the Metro Stars.
On the right, Tony Sane, great athlete who can change the game. Long ball for the very fleet. Ernie Stewart a little bit too far out in front. You'll be seeing a lot of that from the U.S. today, though, as Stewart makes those long runs, and Sane is so good at creating the opportunities.
Ernie Stewart, almost the third forward in this scheme for the United States. McBride, the main target player, with Kobe Jones and Ernie Stewart running in support.
Bartlett winning it in the air. Fabian McCarthy out onto the wing. McKinley's got a good left foot. Little 1-2 with McCarthy, and Sane coming back, giving it back to Casey Keller. Ray G, who is spectacular in the air and also has some very good skills on the balls at his foot. Looking up the wing, turning on a little burst of speed. Here's McBride, now in midfield, has room to turn it. Now Reyna. Reyna immediately challenged, gets past Kannemeyer, a back who's come up. Reyna plays it onto the right side for Sane. Now here's Sane pushing the attack. Fires it right across for McBride, going up, and it's out of bounds. Let's go downstairs to Rob Stone, our on-field reporter. Rob?
History today for American defender Jeff Agus as he celebrates his 100th international appearance, a feat accomplished by just 47 other international male players. I spoke with Jeff before the game. He told me it's a bit of vindication considering some of the events he's been through in his career and for those who had written him off. Also, he said that this is a measure against the test of time, and getting 100 means he's passing.
Thank you, Rob. Here's Arense's goal kick. Reggie going way up for it. Bartlett, and that's excellent challenge. Armas tracking it down.
A tremendous accomplishment for Jeff Agus. Our congratulations to him. And he's back on a field here where some of those tougher times did strike his career. A giveaway on a goal against Jamaica in a World Cup qualifier here. And a U.S. Cup in '96 with Jaime Moreno, his DC United teammate, raced past it for a goal.
Ngobeni with the takeaway. But Sane wins the ball back out to Reyna. Reyna has a lot of room. Watch him move and look for the best pass available. Tries to chip down the wing looking for Eddie Lewis on the long run. It's blocked. Armas wins it back as he will so often. Jones ahead, getting fouled. And here's a free kick opportunity for the U.S. 30 yards from goal. As we told you, Antonio Marufo leading this all-Mexican officiating team for U.S. Cup 2000. Eddie Lewis over the ball. He was missing a little bit high trying to hook it around walls in training this week. Lewis is playing with a torn rotator cuff. Bruce Arena said, so what? You're not pitching.
Now, the USA missed Joe Max Moore in these situations. He can put him away and has many times for the USA from this range. Joe Max Moore still out through a knee injury received at Everton.
Lewis right on. Arense the one-hop save. This portion of the match is brought to you by Budweiser. There is a good look at Eddie Lewis playing for Fulham in England. Yamosa with a nice move around Sean Bartlett to win the ball. Gobe in midfield. Lewis trying to wrap him up. Gobe, good work in a tight space. Changes the point of attack to Kantemeyer.
The South African style, an interesting mix between a British style and add to that African flair.
Yamosa winning it away from McCarthy, and here is Sane in support. Tony Sane, dangerous pass to Jeff Agus, and Agus just gets it out of trouble's way. Armas. Reyna back to Armas. Sane chipping up the wing. Another turnover. It's Ngomeni. The magician with the dreadlocks. He has a great shot to go with his skills. Here's a challenge up front. Arense coming way out of his area. The goal's still open. Eddie Lewis going up to challenge the South African keeper on the long ball. Kobe Jones hustling back to midfield, contesting a ball in the air. Jones goes down. And McCarthy's also holding his head.
Well, add to a description of the South African style of play, unpredictability. A terrible ball here by Ngomeni back towards his own goalkeeper. And Arense's presence of mind and really guts and recklessness saved him there. He came well out of his box to make the defensive play.
Jones has shaken off the collision. Helman Mkalele is the South African player down, and he is still down on the field.
Near the sideline, and their heads collide after the contact with the ball. Kobe Jones, such a battler. He's always involved in those situations.
Reyna to Stewart. Stewart quickly for Lewis, forcing the attack down the left side. Does he have the speed? Not quite enough. But again, there is the U.S. using the flanks, working the ball wide.
Reyna priding the U.S. team compared to U.S. teams of former years of getting into the other team's end of the field and applying some pressure, particularly when the games are at home. And right now for the USA, that last attempt, this grass is very short. It's the Bermuda grass, so the ball moves very rapidly across the surface. It's difficult to catch.
Bartlett laying the ball off to Kalele, who was in that collision and is back into the game. Bartlett bringing it across for David Kantemeyer. Kantemeyer working to McKinley. Now Kantemeyer goes on by on the overlap run, and Gobe with a bad first touch. Issa saves it. Armas trying to track him down, and Reyna. It is Armas. McKinley wins the ball in the 50-50. Reyna popping it ahead. Issa volleys it out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the U.S. There's Trot Mulatto, South African head coach. Lets his players know it out loud when they do not play to his expectations. Kobe Jones, a long ball for Lewis. Back into the middle, just over the top of Armas. Ngomeni makes the clear. Kantemeyer belting it upfield for McCarthy. Yamosa working on him, and Yamosa just pops it out of bounds to give the U.S. defense some time to recover.
Yamosa's had a fine string of games for DC United, some of them here in this park. He's one of the most intelligent one-on-one markers that you'll see. He's able to stay step for step with the player that he's been assigned.
Agus forces it back outside for McKinley, taking away Sane, and there's Agus' little chip. Ernie Stewart for Kobe Jones on the sideline. Kantemeyer applying pressure behind. Jones in a hurry. Here's Stewart, who can fly. On the far side, he's got McBride. McBride trying the volley on the first touch back for Reyna, who was charging into the penalty spot. It's tackled out of bounds, and the throw goes to the U.S.
Brian McBride perhaps trying to put too fine of a point on this opportunity. He had a chance, and there's a good run by Ernie Stewart on a quick throw from Kobe Jones. The ball's now here. Now, McBride could try and take a shot here, even on the second touch. Instead, he did see out of the corner of his eye an open Claudio Reyna in the center.
Reggie with a long throw. McBride winning it in the air. Gombe takes it away from Reyna's head. Armas stabs the ball free to Reggie on the sideline. Reggie against double man pressure, brings it back for Armas, tackled away from behind by Ukulele. Now here comes Bartlett. Bartlett with Ukulele trying to work against Sane. Nice pass ahead for Bartlett. Armas trying to slow him down. Here comes McKinley on the left side. Will he go for the cross for McCarthy? All the way across. A volley attempt by Bartlett goes over the end line for a goal kick to the U.S. That is South Africa's ability to counter.
That is exactly the danger that the USA faces. The speed of Sean Bartlett in the counterattack. The speed of Mkalele, the number 11 for South Africa. And, of course, Benny McCarthy. This one, Bartlett cannot quite get to it, but how about his strides to even get close to it? He covered a lot of ground in a hurry as South Africa almost caught the USA on that counter.
Casey Keller in his 41st international appearance for the red, white, and blue. McBride trying to fight through a pile. Reggie tracking it down. Back for Keller. We've seen Claudio Reyna get the ball with a lot of space a few times. Great deal of respect for his skill. And if Reyna is given the opportunity to make the best pass several times, the U.S. is going to put one in the back of the goal. Yamosa up ahead for Jones. He's ridden off the play. Benny McCarthy going 1-on-3, trying to feed McKinley in the seam. Agus takes it away. Reyna turning it back. Reyna, nice creative pass from McBride. Little 1-2 to Reyna, pops it up for Stewart. He has to bring it back down to Reyna. Sane moving it across for Yamosa. Yamosa has Reggie taking off down the left side. He sees it. Reggie having to come back a little bit. Kalele hoping to win the official's call, but it does go off him, so it'll be a U.S. throw.
Reggie, very good ball skills in tight spaces, able to get out of those tight quarters.
Lewis, the volley for the cross for Jones. It bounces just past Ivan McKinley. Belts it up toward the midfield stripe. Agus stepping around Bartlett to win it, but it goes out of bounds. We'll send it down to Rob Stone. Rob?
Spoke with the U.S. coaching staff before the game, guys. Two main things they really want to stress. Number one, they want to press South Africa and move as a team defensively. We want to cause turnovers as much as they can. Once that ball is played out, they want to push the outside middies up on their defenders. They are willing to play 2v2 in the back. Offensively, it's simple. They want to switch play and get the play to the flanks because that is where their strength is.
Already we've seen that. Now here comes Claudio Reyna. Reyna trying to chip it against the grain from McBride. And played out of there by Zama.
Well, mentioned by Rob Stone there from the coaching staff of the USA. A risky approach, perhaps, when you consider the speed of Benny McCarthy and Sean Bartlett to go 2 against 2 against them at the back.
Armas getting worked over by Goani. Lewis right up to the spot, punched away by Orense. Goani dropping it off. Issa against Lewis's pressure. Yamosa, he has won several balls in midfield today. Another good job there. McBride not coming back far enough, taking down from behind. Ngobe has the counterattack. Bartlett on his right. Now he plays it left to McKinley. McKinley plays a lot in the back line in Major League Soccer, but here he's playing midfield and will push the attack as much as he can. Talented left foot. Here's McCarthy. Little pretzel move on Armas. Armas has a hold and gets called for it, so it'll be a restart for South Africa.
Benny McCarthy, the MVP of the African Nations Cup in 1998. Still a very young player. He didn't quite pan out at Ajax. There was high hopes for him. He ended up over in Spain with Celta Vigo.
All these South African players speak English. That's important in a situation like this where there's a restart and there needs to be some communication. There are 11 official languages in South Africa. 7 of them are represented on this team. The U.S. and South Africa are the 2 greatest melting pots in the world. This is their first ever meeting on a soccer field. Agus firing McKinley's cross out of there. McKinley gets it right back. Kannemeyer brings it back. Zama onto the right side. Kalele away from Lewis. Agus all alone, unchallenged. Straight up for Kobe Jones. He gets clocked from behind on a hard tackle by Andrew Rabutla. And Andrew Rabutla gets a caution here in the 14th minute.
Well, Rabutla's mostly been battering Brian McBride on the high balls, but this time he comes in and clocks Kobe Jones. And because it is a challenge from behind, he's given a yellow card. He got there a step late. There's been an adjustment by South Africa at the back, or actually at the wide midfield. They've brought Mkalele over to the right side, I think, to deal with Reggie and especially Eddie Lewis's speed.
Reina playing it short for Reggie, and here's Mkalele right on him. Quickly back to Reina. Beautiful touch for Armas, 30 yards away. His drive goes just wide. Claudio Reina has eyes in the back of his head.
Armas not known for his offensive capabilities, but he did provide the goal for the United States in January to tie the game against Iran. And he has a lot of space here, almost 30 yards out, but it was worth a try because he did have the chance to really prepare and try and put something on the ball.
Reina seems to have that unique sense that great playmakers do of knowing where there is a little bit of space, giving his teammates a chance to do something with the ball when they get it. Here's Armas winning it back in the tackle, going into the middle for Jones, and Kalele hustling back. Here's Ngobe getting away from Reina. Ngobe, a little burst of speed. Sean Bartlett bringing the ball back. Ngomeni trying to change the point of attack. Sane seeing it all the way. Kannemeyer pushing way up from the back line. Sane back. Keller cracks it out to the midfield circle. Kobe Jones settles it with a chest trap. Dumps it down the right wing. Nobody there on the run for the U.S. This is an 8-day round-robin tournament between the U.S., South Africa, Ireland, and Mexico. Mexico plays Ireland in a doubleheader combined with an MLS game of the Chicago Fire tomorrow at Soldier Field in Chicago. That'll be a beauty. U.S. plays Ireland on ESPN Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. USA and Mexico meeting next Sunday in the doubleheader game at the Meadowlands. And you can see that on ABC Sports. This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet. It's the USA in white against South Africa in green. Zama, Agus, popping it up. McBride wins the challenge. Issa turns it away from Jones, back to Lorenzo. Nice trap. Reina in midfield. Jones pounded down, play on. Zama up ahead for McCarthy. He's got Bartlett moping toward the penalty arc. Working against Agus. Agus wins the tackle. That was a tough one-on-one right there. Zama against Reggie. Zama will try to take him up.
He said it was a bit over. Part of it reported as a, well, it feels good. When we talked to him yesterday, he said the ground here at the RFK Stadium is a little harder than he would like.
On the right, it's Mkalele working against Reggie. That's been a pretty spirited matchup, even here in the first 17 minutes of the match.
Well, Bruce Arena talked about going 2 against 2 in the back, and that sets up one-on-one situations. You don't necessarily like to see this, but you have an experienced defender now in Jeff Agus, his 100th cap today for the USA. Able to stop Benny McCarthy in the one-on-one.
Tony Sane up the right side. Ernie Stewart, a little give and go with Armas. He's got a lot of room on the right. Stewart with explosive speed. Kannemeyer recovering nicely. Stewart across the middle for Jones. Far side, Lewis crashing, but Orense cuts it off. The U.S. sends the midfielders from out wide and creates so many opportunities. There was yet another example of it. Kalele, hard tackle by Reggie to win the ball, and Ngobe comes over and cleans out Lewis, a little bit angry about it.
Well, this game has been played at a torrid pace. The dropping temperatures that we got overnight here has a lot to do with that. There's no way they would have kept this pace here yesterday. The temperatures were nearly 100 with humidity almost to match, but Lewis got toppled by Ngomeni.
Little flick on header. Ngomeni onto the right side for Mkalele. Mkalele working against Reggie. Low cross. Agus pops it up, and it's going to come out of bounds. Jeff Agus has reached a milestone fewer than 50 men have reached worldwide. That it comes in this stadium and against this team is just the perfect touch.
Not only would playing my 100th game in DC be special, but playing against South Africa would be too. My brother was born there, and we lived there for several years, so it would be something special.
And Agus has played as if it's something special so far today. Lewis's square ball picked off. Here's Bartlett in traffic. Intercepted Reina. Reina running away from Bartlett, who's got a little vendetta there. Here's Lewis on the right side. Issa takes him out. Reyna picks it up, mid-air touch. He gets a handball call against South Africa. A restart for the U.S.
Well, no quarter being given at midfield by either squad. Body contact galore.
Ernie Stewart now in a central location. Up ahead for McBride. Quickly turns on the defense. McBride trying to chip through for Stewart. Here's Jones on the right side. Jones for Stewart. In the middle, loose. McBride over the top as Orense takes him down. Boy, that all changed when Brian McBride turned the ball and faced the goal.
Can't get much closer than that. McBride, in fact, started it. It was deflected. Kobe Jones, good work here to turn the ball. A deflection by Ernie Stewart. McBride racing in, trying to lift it over the keeper. Instead, also lifts it over the bar. And the USA lost to Russia in Moscow about 5 weeks ago. McBride had 3 or 4 golden opportunities, a couple easier than that one. And in the back of his mind, he has to wonder, when is one of these going to go in?
Tasty stuff, though. This portion of the match brought to you by Hershey's Milk Chocolates. We're in the 20th minute. USA in white against South Africa in green. This is US Cup 2000. It is the last chance for the U.S. national team to tune up before it begins World Cup qualifiers next month. Guy.
Well, last month I mentioned the game in Moscow, a 2-0 loss to the Russians on 2 very late goals. The United States had much of the play, many chances they wasted, and they ended up losing.
Gorbe winning it away from Reyna in the penalty area. Gorbe, nice dribbling move, working to the sideline. Reyna gives him pressure. It'll be a goal kick for South Africa. Well, in the World Cup, you have to play in the worldwide tournament to get to the final 32. Barbados and Costa Rica are in the U.S.'s group, and Guatemala or Antigua and Barbuda also will be in that 4-nation group. Teams play home and home in the CONCACAF division of the worldwide organization known as FIFA. Ngomeni trying to chip it ahead from McCarthy. Keller controlling the penalty area. Here's Eddie Lewis on the right side. Working it across. McBride popping it up. Reyna. Oh, nice move in traffic. A little heel pass back to Armas. Armas changing the point of attack, bringing it across to Sane. Sane immediately challenged by McKinley. Armas has to bring it back to Yamose in support. The U.S. probing in midfield, looking for a little combination, vying for the opportunity that McBride and Kobe Jones created last time down the field. Here's McKinley, a long ball for Bartlett in the corner. Sane with a nice recovery. Bartlett takes it away, though.
Tony Sane using his speed well there as the right back in this setup, and it's somewhat experimental. Last June, in fact, in the same stadium against Argentina, he was matched up with Javier Zanetti of Argentina and had a very tough time of it because he's not used to being a wingback. Since then, he's played some wingback with his team Hertha Berlin in the Bundesliga in Germany. In fact, he talked yesterday about how he had to mark Rivaldo for about 15 minutes in a Champions League game. Talk about getting tested at a new position.
Torture chamber. Here's Agus running hard against Benny McCarthy, and Agus just belts it out of bounds. It'll be a South Africa throw-in. Now that possession from South Africa, a lot of short play, and then they go short, long. And that's the kind of change of pace the U.S. really has to watch out for on the back line. Agus was ready that time. South Africa almost walking it up here. And again, this is the change of tempo the U.S. has to watch out for. They seem to be so relaxed, and then everything breaks loose. A little flick on. Casey Keller controlling the line. Sane will start it out. He has Stewart straight ahead. Jones farther up the sideline. Plays it all the way up for McBride. Challenged from behind. Taken down. The foul on Andrew Rabutla, who has to watch his step, already having been served with a yellow card. Reyna getting hit hard by Ngobe on the far sideline. And we're going to get a pushing call before the ball went out of bounds. So it'll be a free kick for the U.S. rather than a throw-in.
These games are built, Jack, many times as international friendlies. But you can really sense that World Cup qualifying is very close by, and if these players know that their performances here will really tell the coaches who belongs in the teams when the real games come up for World Cup qualifying.
Reyna struck to McBride just over the top. He keeps knocking on the door. One of these times he's going to get in.
Well, and McBride will get his head on every single high ball in the box, and Reyna delivers it this time, an outswinger. Look at McBride's vertical clearance to hammer the ball just over the bar. McBride there the lone target for the USA on most occasions. But watch David Regis also at the far post. He may be the target on the next one for the United States.
Agus and Bartlett on the challenge in midfield. Now Armas pops it over, intended for Lewis, intercepted Domaney. Sweet move and trapped by him. Kalele gets Regis down. Now passes for Bartlett, tries the shot. Agus on the block. Alongside Ty Keogh with Rob Stone, I'm Jack Edwards. Glad you could be with us at RFK Stadium in our nation's capital. The USA wearing the white, South Africa in green. This is the first game of US Cup 2000, an 8-day round-robin tournament that also features Ireland and Mexico, two teams that will meet tomorrow in Chicago as part of an MLS doubleheader. It's 0-0 in the first half. The U.S. forcing the attack. Claudio Reyna all the way through, across the middle for Lewis. Didn't quite have it where he wanted it. Kalele trying to flick it around Regis. What a couple of great athletes there. Agus having to play it back for Keller. Well, here we are midway in the first half, and these two teams really picking up their offenses, finding their rhythms. McBride going for the chest trap, and it bounces far away from him. Agus with chip for Lewis. Taken down from behind by Nzama. They play on, the ball's out of bounds. A program reminder, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, tied at a game apiece between the Devils and Stars. It's tonight at 8 Eastern Time, 5 Pacific on ABC Sports. Tony Sane on the right side. Push pass for Stewart, working on Issa. McKinley back in support. Here's Stewart, the left footer. Floats on him, and it's going to come all the way across for a throw-in. This portion of the match is brought to you by Motrin. There's Ernie Stewart, who is part of a good club run at the end of the season.
Ernie continuing to score in Holland with Mac Breda. 8 goals on the season. Been a pretty consistent 8-goal scorer in the leagues in Holland, and Breda trying to move up into the honor division. And that good run helped him.
Sane on the right side against McKinley. Tries to turn the corner, does so for McBride. Zama heads it away. Here comes Regis' blast! Knocked out of the middle. David Regis had about 5 or 6 steps and really let a cannon shot go. He wants to play the ball quickly. The U.S. sensing the momentum here at RFK Stadium. Regis for McBride. Zama wins the challenge. Armas taking it down against Domaney. Zama getting the head in front of Regis. It goes out for a corner kick for the U.S. There's Cyril Nzama, who grew up in Soweto in South Africa. Eddie Lewis, who's played in more games under Bruce Arena than any other player. Lewis is cornered. Headed away. Ngobe popping it up to midfield. Agus wins the ball.
Those are not boos. That's the crowd here at D.C. saying goose. And Jeff Agus, the goose man, won the race of that ball with M. Kalele.
Agus looking long for Eddie Lewis. Into the middle for Reyna. Domaney taking it away from Reyna. Issa can't run away from McBride. Domaney. McBride again, tough on the counter. Goes out of bounds. Quick restart by the U.S. Long ball for Kobe Jones. He's got room. First touch wasn't where he wanted it, and Orense covers.
The pressure, though, by the United States deep in South Africa's end of the field, paying off with a golden chance for Kobe Jones, which he should have done much better with. At least kept that ball close enough for an attempt on goal.
Ernie Stewart's speed takes a little bit of room away. Here's Domaney trying a little 1-2 on the far side. It's McCarthy at the top of the box. McCarthy back, a cannon from Ngobe. It just goes wide and out of bounds. Rob Stone, what do you got?
Well, Kobe Jones says the lack of U.S. scoring is exaggerated. Bruce Arena says he'd be upset if the team wasn't creating chances. So on today's sideline siding, we focus on the forward pairing of Kobe Jones and Brian McBride. You see their touches and their shots thus far. Doing so, I guess, if you will. Kobe Jones, like you said, Ty, obviously should have done better than that. But talked with Kobe before this game. I said, what does it mean pairing up with McBride? It says, hey, I have to be a lot more cognizant of when balls are in the air because McBride wins so many of those.
David Kannemeyer under it for South Africa. Pops it ahead. Armas hustling onto the ball, wins it, gets knocked down by Mkalele. Play on. Zama on the right side against Reggie. Ahead for Bartlett. Bartlett turns on Agus. Chips it ahead for Zama on the overlap run. Reggie back marking him tightly. Sane way over in support. Across, and Keller coming out beyond the 6-yard box for the catch.
Keller very quick off of his line, showing the experience that he got in England over many years. Now he's translated that to the Primera League in Spain. First division in Spain, where he is with Rayo Vallecano in Madrid.
Sane wins it away from McKinley. McKinley on Stewart's back. Reina losing for Ngobe. Hard tackle. Yamosa against Ngobe. It goes South Africa's way. A little chip intended for Bartlett. He misread it and was running the other way. Keller's long ball for McBride. Kobe Jones chipping it ahead. Lewis. Little bicycle attempt. Cleared out. Now here's Ernie Stewart on the right. Has a little room. Stewart back for Jones. Ngobe back to take it away. Lewis almost runs onto it. Arendse taking the pressure off and knocking the ball up over the South Africa bench.
I guess Ernie Stewart got surprised by that ball, but he's got to have the killer instinct in the box. He is a proven goal scorer, even in the Dutch league. And he did not take that chance there. So we've had chances by Reina. We've had several chances by McBride. We've had chances by Kobe Jones. The USA with nothing to show for it.
Mkalele with a little bit of room. Domani on the right side. Armas tackles it hard away from him. Mkalele coming over to give him trouble. And Armas has to play it out of bounds. It'll be a South African throw. There's Thabo Mngomeni. He's not the captain today, but has served as captain for the Bafana Bafana. The boys, the translation from Zulu. There's some of these South African players who play for Turkish club teams during the regular season. This, of course, the national team, different club play. So we're just wondering if there is a Zulu to Turkish dictionary. Probably not available at Amazon.com.
Well, you and I got a chance to talk to Quentin Fortune at the practice yesterday. He's injured, probably will not play today. And Quentin Fortune now property of Manchester United. His Spanish outstanding because he spent a couple seasons with Atletico Madrid.
Armas heading it away from the penalty spot. Bernie Stewart on the right side. Stewart with a lot of room. Plays a long ball for Kobe Jones against Nzama. Jones taken down by Nzama on the way through. Play on. A good effort by Jones. No foul.
South Africa also without Phil Masinga, Lucas Radebe, Leeds United because of injury. Mark Fish is retired from international play.
McKinley a little give and go with Kannemeyer. Reggie's trying to ride McCarthy out of there. Hits McCarthy's hand on the way up. I don't believe that the referee saw it, but the referee's assistant did catch it and put the flag up. Antonio Marufo, the referee, signaling for the handball. And there is going to be a substitution here. Delron Buckley coming in for Ivan McKinley for South Africa. Brian McBride has had some chances.
Well, we talked about all the chances the USA have had, but look at the ones McBride has had. This one, instead of shooting, he tried to get into Reina. On this one, it's Kobe Jones gets it across the front. Ernie Stewart tips it. McBride just there, lifting it over the bar. In this one, he skies above all the defenders and then skies the header over the crossbar. So a little more precision, maybe a little more luck around the goal for Brian McBride would be in store later on in this game.
You saw Delron Buckley, who plays in Germany. And he's coming back after having missed a year with an injury. He's in the game for McKinley, a U.S. corner kick. Eddie Lewis cranking up the in-swinger. Arendse with the catch in the 6-yard box right in front of Brian McBride. Ngobe with a lot of room to roam. Yamosa coming back to shut him down. Stewart, who is swung all the way to the left side for the U.S. Yamosa. Reina.
Ivan McKinley left the game for South Africa, and it's a shame because he has vivid memories of a game last year on this field for the New England Revolution against DC United, where he scored what I thought was the goal of the year in Major League Soccer.
Lewis 35 yards out. Ngobe, a hard challenge to win the ball. Well done. Buckley. Ngomeni playing into space on the right side of Mkalele. Up ahead, here's the counterattack. Angus winning it away from Benny McCarthy. South Africa seeing the room up the right side and working it quickly. Kalele with a sweet move, trying to get it around, makes the cross. Yamosa winning it away from Buckley, who just came into the game.
Again, outstanding defensive positioning for the header by Yamosa, staying right next to his man, able to beat him to the high ball.
Hannemeyer against Stewart on the far side. Tries to change a pace move. Bernie's not buying it. Back to Buckley. Tees it up. Cranks it right off Yamosa's face and out of bounds. Pace of play is really entertaining here today, Ty. Buckley again. A little give and go attempt through the middle with Ngomeni. Bartlett turning it. A little chip across from McCarthy. Tries the volley. He was offside. McCarthy goes down holding either his shin or his knee. Regis was on the challenge.
Well, Sean Bartlett here on the ball, the captain today for South Africa, looking unselfishly towards that far post for a run by Benny McCarthy. McCarthy, though, started his run a bit too soon and was caught offside.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Nike. McBride wins the ball in the air. Uzama back to Issa. Volleys it ahead. Kalele reads the bounce better than Regis, and he has a lot of space right side. Kalele with a step-over move against Agus. Reina coming back. Bartlett turns it back. Ngomeni. Ngomeni's blast goes just wide left side. Counter-attack and good work in tight spaces by South Africa.
Again, it's Bartlett holding the ball near the top of the box. Look at the little flare by Ngomeni. The long-range rocket, though, with the backspin rising as it cleared the bar. But another dangerous counterattack with more green shirts coming forward this time than we've seen almost the entire half for South Africa.
Dumisa Ngobe, who plays in Turkey. There's a Turkish to Zulu dictionary. Sane at midfield for the U.S. Out of Ngobe for Armas. Armas plays it off to Jones in a spot. Jones has the shot from 23. Scores! Kobe Jones!
Well, there's been a lot of discussion about whether Kobe Jones is a goal scorer at the international level. Well, he's got 4 this year for the USA, and he just carried the ball until he got dead center where he could shoot to either corner. And he just launches one well out of the reach of Arenze, stretching the far side netting. And for Kobe Jones, what a payoff for a great deal of work, not only today, but game after game. Normally out on the flank, but he shows that he can do damage when he comes into the center as well.
And note that the passes from Chris Armas, whose continued improvement in midfield is one of the bright spots for the U.S. Regis looking for McBride all the way across. Hannemeyer pops it up against Stewart and then knocks it over his head. Armas tracking it down. The U.S. pressing the attack. Up 1, looking for insurance already. Tony Sane around the perimeter to Claudio Reina. Reina for Lewis. Lewis has Regis on the outside, elects to change the point of attack for Stewart at the top of the box. A little flick on. It's going to run long. Look at the fitness on Jones all the way to the corner trying to keep it in. And the U.S. wins the throw-in, and that is pure hustle.
This was a ball that was long gone, but he stayed with it all the way. And now has won a foul because there was a slight bump right at the corner flag. So without that hustle, there's no free kick from the corner for the USA.
If Kobe Jones plays in all 3 games in this U.S. Cup, he will become the most experienced U.S. international player ever, passing Marcelo Balboa. He's 2 behind, 1 behind after today. Reina into the middle for McBride, and it out. McCarthy, Stewart, back for Armas, who's all the way back. This portion of the match brought to you by Tropicana. Reina outside of the foot flick for Stewart. Stewart has Lewis at the penalty spot. Reina going into the big space. McBride out back for the far post. Just wide. Oh, the U.S. is playing some entertaining soccer right now for Bruce Arena.
Cranking up the pressure. Another high ball towards the back post. Of course, Brian McBride lurking there. Wins the header as he always does. It's just a question of whether he could direct it inside that far post. He missed it by inches.
Oh, the agony. McBride has been so close so many times. Sean Bartlett, a flick-on header. Yamosa popping it back. Agus settles the volleyball game down to Lewis's feet. Little blind pass. McBride didn't see it coming. Reyna wins the ball with a nice tackle. Out of the outside for Lewis. Chips it up the wing. Here's McBride. McBride working against Issa. Step over move. Can't pull it inside. Lewis on the cross. First time ahead for Jones. Stewart running it down against Gomeini.
Too bad Kobe's out a couple inches taller.
Armas. Kobe on the challenge for South Africa. Armas in the corner. Along the sideline. Full ball has to cross the whole line. Yamosa. Armas pulls it back. Change of tempo for the U.S. here, which has been playing at a very high pace the last 10 minutes or so. About 5 minutes to go in the first half, settling things down, consolidating the momentum. McBride, a nice touch square for Reyna. Reyna brings it back. U.S. holding the ball, making South Africa run a little bit on defense. Here's Stewart back to Reyna. Sane draws McCarthy, plays it back for Keller. Keller for Stewart. Chest pass back for Armas. His pass knocked around. Yamosa the giveaway to Gomeini. For Ngobe. Issa against McBride. Issa plays it onto the right sideline for Kalele. Agus immediately challenging out on the left side where Agus is so comfortable. Lewis with a challenge from behind. A foul on Eddie Lewis. A program reminder, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals coming up tonight. A long blast from the outside by South Africa. Goes goal kicks for the U.S. Tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC Sports. That series tied 1 game apiece as it shifts to Dallas.
Referee playing the advantage there as South Africa straight into the attack, looking to not to score just before halftime.
Here's Keller's restart. McBride going up. Buckley with a high foot and let it go. Buckley trying to juggle it down. Kobe Jones hustling again to win it. Ernie Stewart. Tony Sane. Armas turning with a lot of space. Reyna. Sane. U.S. patient. Now changing the point of attack. Lewis is out there against Nzama. Lewis using his body well. Trying for the volley cross. Won't go. And the ball rolls out. This portion of the match brought to you by Allstate. Let's send it down below to Rob Stone.
Well, guys, a lot has changed numerically speaking since our last sideline signing update about 15 minutes ago. The numbers have really jumped up for Kobe Jones and Brian McBride. You see the touches and the shot. At least a dozen touches, 3 shots, and 1 goal the last 15 minutes as those two guys really seem to be combining lately.
Agus volleying it back to midfield. Kalele showing off his skills. Issa against McBride. Quickly through to Gomeini. Lewis goes down hard on that sore shoulder. McBride for Jones. Nice trap. Here's Reyna. He's got Stewart on the right side. It's a 4-on-3 for the U.S. Reyna behind Jones. Not where he wanted it. Taken away Nzama. A bit of miscommunication between Reyna and Jones behind the play. They wave at each other. They both acknowledge it. They haven't played together that much of late. That will come together as the U.S. gets closer and closer to the World Cup qualifying matches. McBride from Kobe Jones along the sideline. He's got Lewis toward the middle. Plays it nicely into the space. Trying to turn on Issa. Goes end line. Turning it back and wins the corner kick off of Issa. There is Pierre Issa. Born in Johannesburg but raised in Paris. And plays for Olympique Marseille. Lewis's corner kick. Rense challenging, punching it clear. Reyna. Jones goes for the shot.
Kobe Jones with 2.
Give Claudio Reyna a lot of credit on this one. Watch his little header straight into the path of Kobe Jones. He makes a good first touch. This ball is through a lot of traffic. Arenza, the goalkeeper, obviously screened, but this ball rips at the near side. Arenza actually got his thumb to it, a part of his hand. He didn't clear the first one well enough because of good pressure by U.S. attackers getting in his way. Toby Jones with velocity and placement through some traffic beats Arensen. And Toby Jones and Brian McBride do complement each other pretty well. McBride getting all the high balls. They both work very hard, and Jones cleaning up in after him, this time off of a header from Reyna.
Kalele far side for Bartlett. Sane winning the ball and heading it out. It'll be a corner kick for South Africa. The All-State halftime report is coming up just a couple of minutes away. News on the Olympic draw and World Cup qualifying, and the U.S. women's national team playing right now in Australia. Now here's South Africa with a chance to get one back as Nkalele sets up the corner kick. And Gobe has a cannon way out top. Long cross, McBride back, and it goes out for another corner kick for the Bafana Bafana, the boys. Assist to Reyna, the goal for Kobe Jones, and Jones now for the national team has 5 goals in the year 2000. Buckley on the corner, goes to the far post, way over the top of Issa. And McBride will let it run out. U.S. in no hurry here. The referee, Marufo, trying to encourage the U.S. with a bit of a demanding whistle there. We are in stoppage time now in the first half. Sane's long throw for McBride. Here's Jones. A little flick on for Reyna. And the first half is over at RFK Stadium in Washington, D.C. Great ovation from the home crowd. Toby Jones has hit the net twice. Rob Stone has the All-State halftime report after this.
How U.S. gymnast Vanessa Atler eats a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Hot tippers, midnight surfers, best friends, TV experts, handshakers, ex-neighbors, family brokers, online pokers, smart cookies. Ask everyone. Then, before you invest, investigate at Morningstar.com. An oasis of unbiased analysis and expert insight, so you can sift through chatter and invest smarter. Morningstar.com, your first, second opinion.
How does Lotrimin AF start curing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching? On contact. How does it help stop the burning? On contact. How does it start killing all 3 funguses? On contact. Nothing cures better or faster than Lotrimin AF, the #1 recommendation of doctors. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure on contact. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure.
The family has always put in the forefront to protect the quality and the standards set by Adolphus Bush.
The deep sense of pride that my grandfather taught me, that my father continues to teach me.
I think he would be very happy that the generations of his family have practiced what he taught us.
Can't get enough peanuts? Get a payday. Sweet caramel and tons of salty peanuts.
Welcome back to our nation's capital. We are halfway through the opening game of US Cup 2000 between South Africa and the United States. We begin our All-State halftime report with big news from down under. Late last night, the Sydney Olympics held their qualifying draw, and here's the bracket the U.S. men are in, and most feel it's one they can advance to the quarterfinals out of. The top 2 teams in each of the 4 groups move on to that second stage. However, things a lot tougher for the world champion U.S. women. China, Norway, Nigeria in their bracket. Again, only 8 teams in that tournament. And the world champs women in action in Australia right now. The Pacific Cup, they lost earlier in the week to China 1-0, but returned to thrash Canada. Tiffany Milbrett, Cindy Parlow, each recording hat-tricks. World Cup 2002 qualifying gets underway for the men in July. They begin with 2 road games, and here's their home schedule for now. All locations will be finalized by next weekend, but we can tell you the first one versus Barbados will be in the Northeast, and Columbus, Ohio will definitely host either that September 3rd or October 11th date. When the All-State Halftime Report rolls on, we'll have halftime highlights and more festivities from our nation's capital.
Allstate joins every sports fan in America in cheering the team that has beaten the world at its own game. This year, they know we're coming.
When it's you against a migraine headache, you can't play nice. But now there's new Motrin Migraine Pain. It gives you the speed and power you need to show your migraine headache who's boss. New Motrin Migraine Pain Tablets for people who don't fool around with pain.
Sunday on the wonderful world of Disney. They came.
I want a piece of these guys.
They saw.
Bring it on.
They kicked a little. Emilio Estevez and Joshua Jackson. D3, the Mighty Ducks. ABC Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
There's something you get from News Center that you simply can't get anywhere else. More news. We're on Morning Noon at night on ABC 6 and 7 nights a week at 10 on Fox 28. News Center on ABC 6 and Fox 28. Welcome to the revolution.
And who is this fine-looking young man?
Dad, his nose isn't brown.
Need a little quiet time? Give him a Quaker Chewy. Wholesome granola now mixed with delicious chunks of Nestle Butterfinger bars. Chewy stops the chatter.
Hey folks, the response to this sale at Buddy's Carpet is overwhelming. We are getting you a little extension till Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Here's the story. On top of very, very low, crazy prices on everything, there's no interest, no payments till 2002. I didn't say 2000 or 2001. No interest, no payments till 2002, but you got to get to Buddy's Carpet before Wednesday night.
I've been telling you the deals down at Riker are as sweet as honey. Well, I got proof right here. You got the buzz is right here, $199 a month for a brand new truck. Even the bees know better. Jim, get that camera back here before I get bit. $199 a month, no money down. What else could you ask for? And here's a sweet payment on a sweet car. $239 a month, no money down for the Reichert GS Mustang. Good-looking car. Come on out and see us at the Reichert Mega Mall, where you know we're dealing.
Due to Tom Raper's 36th anniversary sale, Tom has hundreds of used RVs, used diesel pushers, motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, tent and truck campers. Used RVs sale price now through June 3rd. Previous owners paid the depreciation. Now you save thousands. Tom Raper RVs, Richmond, Indiana, where the #1 selling brands of new RVs are on sale at one location. I-70 exit 149A. Open evenings, closed Sundays. Call now. Call free. 1-800-RAPER-RV.
A murder victim remembered tonight on News Center.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile Speed Pass, the fastest way to get gas. It's free and it's only at Mobile.
Through 2 rounds of the Bell South Senior Classic, Gary Player, Vicente Fernandez, Tom Kite, and Hale Irwin share the lead. A marquee leaderboard at the top as we head to the final round. Irwin, Kite, Fernandez, Player, all at 11 under. Join us tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern for our coverage here on ABC. Now back to soccer and Rob Stone. The hometown fans have a lot to cheer for after 45 minutes. The All-State Halftime Report rolls on from our nation's capital. And ABC Sports has a doozy for you next weekend. 2 hard-hitting, fierce regional rivals. Next Sunday, the final game of U.S. Cup 2000. It's the United States versus Mexico next Sunday. When we return to our nation's capital, Kobe Jones has 2 goals. That's what halftime highlights are for, in case you missed them.
We need this back. It's rounder. Weapons!
Allstate joins every sports fan in America in cheering the team that has beaten the world at its own game. This year, they know we're coming.
Okay, San Diego. We gave you the Dr. Scholl's Dynastep Sport insert 5 weeks ago when you were in pain. How do you feel now?
With the inserts, when I play basketball, my lower back is much, much better.
Before I tried the inserts, I had shin splint pain. Now I don't.
After I put them in there, I have no pain on my foot.
Its U-shaped design cradles your foot so your feet hit the ground evenly.
I don't like to play in pain.
It's clinically proven among athletes to provide immediate relief from lower body pain.
I can run the Boston Marathon now.
The Dynastep has taken the tension off my knees.
Yes.
I really can't dance.
Hot tippers, midnight surfers, best friends, TV experts, handshakers, ex-neighbors, family brokers, online pokers, smart cookies. Ask everyone. Then before you invest, investigate at Morningstar.com, an oasis of unbiased analysis and expert insight, so you can sift through chatter and invest smarter. Morningstar.com, your first, second opinion.
What's not to like for American fans so far in U.S. Cup 2000? This is the Allstate Halftime Report. Alongside Ty Keogh, I'm Jack Edwards, 2-0 for the U.S., and Coach Bruce Arena has to be pretty happy with his charges.
Well, Arena gambled a little bit. Remember, he said he was going to play only 2 against 2 in the back sometimes, but that created pressure going the other way. The USA able to put more bodies in the other end of the field and create some good chances for Brian McBride, Kobe Jones, and others. McBride narrowly missing with a header. That was about his 3rd chance of the game. But South Africa, at times, it's Ngomeni to Ngobi, a long-range opportunity. And then Tony Sana started this attack up the right side. Chris Arms into Kobe Jones. He races across the center. Takes his time. Good patience exhibited. How about the placement on that shot as he ripped it into the upper corner? That was in the 36th minute. In the 43rd minute, it's Claudio Reyna nodding the ball over to Kobe Jones. Through some traffic, he rips it into the top part of the net after it deflected off Lorenz's hand.
So now, how does South Africa counter this American attack? The U.S. in control, 2-0 as we get ready for the second half.
Wanted one person to watch televised sports all day.
Job includes playing video games and receiving massages.
Salary $100,000 to $150,000.
Cavalier, so dependable, there are more of them out there working than any other small car.
Okay, come on, who's your daddy?
Cavalier, we'll be there.
Allstate joins every sports fan in America in cheering the team that has beaten the world at its own game. This year, they know we're coming.
When it's you against a migraine headache, you can't play nice. But now there's new Motrin migraine pain. It gives you the speed and power you need to show your migraine headache who's boss. New Motrin migraine pain caplets for people who don't fool around with pain.
How does Lotrimin AF start curing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching? On contact. How does it help stop the burning? On contact. How does it start killing all 3 funguses? On contact. Nothing cures better or faster than Lotrimin AF, the #1 recommendation of doctors. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure on contact. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure.
Only 2 people have ever blown the $100 question.
I'll just be sick if I get this wrong.
And Julia was in no hurry to become the 3rd.
I'm going to be sick if you don't answer it soon. I'm going with A.
You got it. Whew. And all new Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, 9/8 Central ABC tomorrow. And you can play along. Just log on to abc.com and click on Enhanced TV.
Paul Tracy looks to repeat at the Milwaukee Mile. He takes on reigning car champ Juan Montoya and Jimmy Vasser at the Miller Lite 225. Sunday on ABC. The United States versus South Africa soccer on ABC Sports, brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Remember, there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. Texaco and Haviland, proud sponsors of U.S. soccer and the 2000 U.S. Olympic team. And Brew Refresh Budweiser, official beer of U.S. soccer. This Bud's for you.
Welcome back to a beautiful day in our nation's capital. Kobe Jones with 2 goals to put the U.S. up 2-0 on South Africa as we get set for the second half. A look back at the first half statistics. The U.S. with a decided 10-6 edge in shots. Look 2 lines down from there. South Africa with 8 fouls to just 3 for the Americans. Let's send it downstairs to Rob Stone. Rob?
Just spoke with head coach Bruce Arena. I said, hey, coach, with that 2-0 lead, is that going to affect your subbing situation? He smiled and said, yes. They have 5 subs to work with this game. Everybody was out on the field warming up. He said to keep an eye on the first 15 minutes on Eddie Lewis and David Reggie. Those are the 2 guys most likely to take a little break. He also said they need to be a little quicker to the ball. They got to start winning more of those 50-50 balls.
All right, Rob, thanks. The U.S. wearing the all-white and going left to right here in the second half. And we've got a substitution before we begin the second half for South Africa. Number 12, Godfrey Sapula, who wears the dreadlocks back and a couple of ponytails. You see him there at the midfield stripe with the ball. He is in for Ngomeni, who just about ran out of legs at the end of the first half. A lot of pressure on Ngomeni, and he was not only defending but also creating a lot of chances for the Bafana Bafana, the boys, as they call them in Zulu. Here's Eddie Lewis, flicking it on from Brian McBride, tackled from behind, and down he goes. This portion of the match brought to you by Texaco. ABC and U.S. Soccer want to send along get well message to Bruce Arena's wife, Phyllis Arena, who had surgery this past week. She's watching the game, going home today. This is making her feel a little bit better. Here's Sapula, working on the right side, trying to get away from Armas. Volleys it into the with outstanding effort. Kobe Jones, 2 goals today. It has been 2.5 years since a U.S. player has done that.
And that player was Brian McBride, who's had his chances today. Had a ton of chances against Russia in Moscow last month. Actually, late in April.
Ukulele on the right side gives it away to Armas. Ukulele fighting for the ball to get it back. Agus punches it for Lewis, looking right in the sun, heading it back for McBride. Now Armas outside of the foot, but there is Issa. Issa changing the point of attack, and it's going to run all the way over to Buckley. Buckley switching up with Kannemeyer, who runs forward. Sapula sells the dummy, gets it back on a nice combination with Ngobe. Sapula trying to feed the through ball, intercepted Yamosa. Bernie Stewart with a little bit of room to run. Stewart plays it long for McBride, hustling from the back. It's Rabutla. Rabutla, who got the yellow card in the 14th minute. The South Africans getting a little talking to from referee Antonio Marufo here. But it's their restart. McBride called for the push on the way through. Andre Arense. Agus against Bartlett. Bartlett flicks it on for McCarthy a little bit too straight ahead. McCarthy was looking for more of an angle on the flick-on header.
Sean Bartlett there did well, though, to hang as long as he did in the air to try and redirect the ball into the path of Benny McCarthy.
Kobe Jones out of the right side. Ernie Stewart firing it all the way across, but he can't curl it inbounds. It'll be a goal kick for South Africa.
Something that may be difficult as this half goes along is Andre Arense, the goalkeeper for South Africa, having to deal with a lower sun in his eyes at that goal to our right. shadows starting to creep onto the field from the opposite end.
And Tony Sané and Ernie Stewart are on that right side, and they will force the attack and throw up some crosses right out of the sun. Here's Buckley on a long run against Sané. A drive hits the side of the goal. It'll be a goal kick for the U.S. Sané giving a little bit of room to Buckley.
Buckley, a speedster who has experience in Germany with Bochum. He did accelerate well and tee off on a ball that, frankly, though, Casey Keller appeared to have covered. We'll look at it here. Brings it down well off his chest. Ball had a lot of power straight off the left foot. It was just off target.
In midfield, Nzama trying a long ball. Vegas popping it up and winning the header away from Bartley. Reyna settles it sweetly. A little 1-2 work with Stewart. Now ahead for McBride, who turns back nicely. Hits Stewart to seam. Ernie Stewart all the way in. Past Issa. The shot over the top. Issa with a lot of pressure on Stewart, but what nice work in midfield by the U.S.
And by Brian McBride specifically. Ernie Stewart to Reyna. Look at McBride. He controls his ball despite some good pressure. And then you mentioned, Jack, and McBride has become more of a passer, more of a possession player. In fact, had a very fine game for the United States against Russia in late April in terms of holding the ball and laying balls off. And what a great ball he laid off there for Ernie Stewart, and Stewart's left foot failed him there.
Stewart playing for the 57th time for the United States in an international match. This portion of the match is brought to you by Budweiser. Agus heading it for Armas. Armas turns it back to Agus. The left footer goes long for Lewis, a little bit too long. It'll run out of bounds on the far side. The U.S. team plays its second of 3 U.S. Cup games against Ireland in Foxborough, Massachusetts. There will be a lot of green and white there. Tuesday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN. We hope you'll join us. David Regie winning the header. McBride to Reyna. Reyna in traffic, working hard against Sapula. Sapula with an extra hand in there, and he gets called for the push.
Well, the contributions of Claudio Reyna become more and more important in this game because of the scoreline. It's critical for the USA to establish a good rhythm of possession, and that's Reyna's job.
McBride, after Stewart's space-making run, and Orense makes the catch at the top of the 6-yard box. Ernie Stewart does a lot of unselfish running. He'll run diagonally across the field, and the defense either has to take a man and commit to Stewart's run, which opens up space for teammates, or it has to leave him alone and allow Stewart to go in there uncovered. Either way, that kind of effort pays off for the U.S. in the end, and it takes a great effort and an unselfish player like Stewart to pull that off. Gobe. This is Buckley. Buckley, square. Ukulele, outside of the foot. Agus volleying it. Get it out of there. Kobe Jones using the body nicely. Back to Sané. Buckley immediate pressure. Sané steps on the ball. Here's Buckley. Reyna coming back. Buckley serves it behind his man in the middle. He had McCarthy. Agus popping it long. South Africa appealing for a handball against Agus as it popped up. Anamaya, you go there. Stewart forcing him right. Sapula. Sapula on the right side. Kalele. Kalele shipping. In the corner, Nzama, long overlap run. Hard tackle, Regie forcing the corner kick and preventing the cross from getting into the middle.
Nzama, the right back for South Africa, really shows a blazing speed there on a run out of the back, which could surprise the opposition. Regie reacted just in time, recovered just in time to give up a point.
Kalele's corner kick. Looking for Issa, but Keller snatches it.
Jack, a moment ago we saw Jeff Agus twice just blast the ball out of danger. And really, there's no shame in a defender, particularly with a 2-goal lead at times, to not try and control it, not take possession, just get it out. And safety first in front of your box.
Rabutlo winning the ball away from Jones. Here's Agus, a little header. Armas for Regie. Immediate pressure from Kalele. Lewis turns on Nzama. Nzama stabs it away. Lewis on another challenge, but Nzama takes it back. Gobe. South Africa with a great change of pace. Lewis running him right down. Good hustle by Eddie Lewis. Now a through ball trying to get Jones in there, and he would have been in alone. Inches away from sending Kobe Jones in alone from 35 yards. And Trot Mulatto on the sideline. You can hear him screaming at his defenders for not marking Jones and allowing the ball to be turned over in midfield. Sane now taken away from Buckley. Yamosa curls it out of bounds.
The South Africa coach Mulatto, we talked to him yesterday. He was a player who played many games against Ace Nesalenkwe. He was a star in the North American Soccer League here in the United States.
Gomez grabbing Reina's shirt. Here's an opening. McCarthy on the bounce. A little beautiful ball. Get it over the top. He's taken down. No. Play on, says the referee, Malufo. What a move in traffic, though, that little volley over the top. Now Reina with some fancy stuff. Ryan McBride's going down, holding his right shin. He had a collision near the midfield stripe.
He, in fact, was challenged very hard from behind. I thought it warranted the yellow card. May have been Rabutla again, being given a little too much license because he already has a card. We'll see here. There's the matchup. McBride gets whacked on the outside of the right shin. And it was Rabutla. But no, not even a foul call. McBride's had a lot of problems with his ankle over the last 2 or 3 years. Rudy Radowski in the sunglasses, a longtime trainer for the U.S. national team, the men's team.
South Africa with the throw-in, and in a sporting way, Bartlett just sending it out of bounds, so it'll be U.S. possession after the American player was hurt. And here's McBride right back into the game. Kannemeyer chucking it across the field. Regis spectacular in the air, winning it away from Kalele. Lewis, McBride, chest trap, little 1-2 with Lewis here down the left flank. He's working on Nzama. He's got Jones near the penalty arc. Tries the flick on, doesn't work.
Real nice work again by Brian McBride to start that play, to get the ball into space for the run of Eddie Lewis.
Nzama turning Armas, and Armas is never going to give up on a ball. Into the middle, McCarthy trying to turn Agus. Agus outside of the foot to snap it out of the way. Gomez has a cannon, but Reina gives him no room. Reina coming back to take it away. And Keller clears it out of danger. Let's send it downstairs to Rob Stone. Rob?
Well, Bruce Arena obviously very happy with the combination of Brian McBride and Kobe Jones. Here's the updated sideline sightings right now. 49 touches, 8 shots. 2 of those shots found net. Bruce Arena actually just sent about 3 guys, Greg Vanny, Ante Razov, and Ben Olsen, to go start warming up a little bit more, look for some quick subs. And that Brian McBride injury, just a knock on his ankle, no twist, no sprain, no nothing.
Well, McBride and Jones have combined well up front, but at the back for the United States, Yamosa and Jeff Agus, their experience together with DC United paying off here for Bruce Arena with the U.S. national team. And what a tandem they were for DC United when DC United won the Inter-American Cup, beating Vasco da Gama of Brazil. And both Agus and Yamosa had a lot to do with that.
Jeff Agus blocks Bartlett's attempt out. Bartlett quickly putting it back into play. Kalele lobs it into the middle. Keller out to make the catch in the shadows. All those players we were talking about, McBride, Jones, and those warming up on the sideline, Olsen, Razov, Vanny, those are all Major League Soccer players. And that league has meant so much to U.S. soccer's international efforts.
When we talked to Bruce Arena yesterday, he talked about the added depth his team has and the fact that he goes in confidently, knowing he's always got 11 good players on the field, even when there's injuries.
Sane running up the sideline. They're going to call a foul throw against the U.S.
Arena gave full credit to Major League Soccer. The experienced players are getting there. Also, he gave credit to quality opposition with national team games, including games like this in the U.S. Cup.
First meeting ever between the United States and South Africa in soccer for the full national team. Armas turning it back. Sane. Right up for Armas. Quickly getting pressure, but running it away from it. Little 1-2 attempt with McBride too hard, and Armas has to pass it back for Agus. The U.S. swings it across the back of the perimeter. Regis, Reina, Armas. Sapula on the challenge, winning the ball away. McCarthy out onto the wing for Buckley. Buckley against Tony Sane. Buckley with a step-over move. Sane, big body, puts it right on. Sane winning it away, keeping it in bounds. Great applause from the crowd. Excellent defensive effort by Tony Sane. It'll be a throw to South Africa.
There's some danger here that the U.S. become a little bit complacent. The 2-0 lead, so dangerous, because with one goal, it's a completely different game.
McCarthy lets it run on. Oh, Agus almost took a shoe in the face, but he manages to head it out of there. Sane unsuccessful on the attempt. Bartlett over to Buckley in the corner. Ngobe against Stewart. Buckley in tight quarters against Sane. Buckley and Ngobe. Sane using the body again, and it deflects out of bounds. It'll be a corner kick for South Africa.
Also in developing this team, Bruce Arena has done well by calling in a lot of new faces to broaden and deepen the pool of players available for the United States in international play.
U.S. up 2-0. Here's Mkalele's corner kick. David Ray up in the air to win it. Annemeyer heads it up for Mkalele. Mkalele against Claudio Reyna. Mkalele from Ngobe. Stewart right on him. Lewis pressure from behind. Here's Mkalele. Makes the cross. The drive goes far outside the post. Helman Mkalele, the Midnight Express, playing in Ankara, Turkey during the winter. 57th time he's represented South Africa.
Scored quite a goal, in fact, for South Africa against Brazil a couple years ago. When you're going past quick Brazilians, that means you've got a little bit of skill and confidence.
Keller's goal kick. McBride. A little elbowing going on. As he and Raputla continue to mix it up in midfield. This portion of the match is brought to you by Chevrolet. McCarthy trying to get away from Yamosa. They tangle up the ball, bounces all the way through to Casey Keller. The U.S. not with as pressing an attack as we saw in the late first half. And Toby Jones found net twice. Mkalele on the right side for South Africa. A long chip ahead for Bartlett. It bends out of bounds. David Ray on the throw for the U.S. team. Kobe Jones, 2 goals on the day. Back to Ray Ray trying the chip for Lewis. It goes out. The U.S. appealing for a throw-in off a South African player. But it'll be Bafana Bafana ball.
So much pride in the Bafana Bafana in South Africa, especially because South Africa not allowed to participate in international sports prior to 1992 for political reasons. They come on to become one of the powers of South African soccer.
Bidding for the 2006 World Cup, and that'll be decided next month by FIFA, the world governing body of the sport. Couple of heel passes in combination. McCarthy back for Buckley. Buckley across the middle for Bartlett. His header just wide. Well, South Africa's beginning to press the attack against the U.S. And Sean Bartlett, a very dangerous man, had an opportunity.
South Africa pressing the attack from the wings. And Tony Sane, who's not really used to playing right back that much, gets beaten here on some little heel flicks. There was a bump there. Advantage was played. Maybe Sane was pushed down to Big Cat. It takes more than that to push the Big Cat down, Tony Sane. And Bartlett, well, he wasted a golden chance there.
Here's Eddie Lewis. He goes around Raputla. He's got Jones in the middle. Back for Stewart, but Sapula heads it clear. Mkalele running away from McBride. McBride slides down. Mkalele still has it. Nice dribbling move. Here's Ngobe. Steps on the ball, stops it, now comes out wide. Here's Sapula. Sapula against Ernie Stewart. Now he plays it ahead for Buckley. Buckley against Sane. Shipping into the middle for McCarthy. Contact. Agus pops it up and out. It'll be a corner kick. South Africa again with pressure here in the 63rd minute.
Huge defending on the high ball by Carlos Yamosa. Making sure he just made a little bit of contact as he went up, and he disguises it so well. It is deliberate, but he makes it look like a part of the play, throwing the attacking player's balance off so that he can't get his head to the ball.
South African corner, Keller out for the catch. Right in McCarthy's face.
That's what you call a snare. Reaching over several bodies to pull it in.
Toby Jones against Kannemeyer. It goes over both of them. And headed out of bounds by Raputla. Toby Jones has scored 2 for the U.S. today.
36th and 43rd minutes. Kobe Jones lighting it up. 2 left-footed shots from fairly long range, at least near the edge of the box.
Ngobe. Armas stealing the ball. Lewis getting hit hard by Ngobe and going down. It's a foul and a U.S. free kick. Misi Ngobe, former league-leading goal scorer, and plays the attacking midfield role. A distributor, big physical presence for South Africa. Reina the chip for Jones. Rense is there. Nodding it over. Sane a little bit too stiff into the middle. Agus with a clean out tackle. Reina chipping it onto the right for McBride. They got a 3-on-3 here. McBride misplays. He gets the benefit of the bounce. Kobe Jones running onto it hard against Issa. Jones across the middle. Reina scores! 3-0 for the U.S. Javier Reina. Impressive work by several U.S. attackers, Brian McBride, Kobe Jones, and an even more impressive finish by Claudio Reina. All he has to do is make sure he places this ball, uses the side of his foot, doesn't try and break the net, he passes it into the goal. And Claudio Reina, memories of '95 here in the U.S. Cup, where he had a goal and 2 assists in a 4-0 win over Mexico. The crowd very happy with what it sees here. Eddie Lewis, a well-played 65 minutes. He's out. Ben Olsen is in for the U.S. This portion of the match brought to you by York Peppermint Patty. I dreamed I was playing for the U.S. with a 3-0 lead in the nation's capital on a perfect day in June. Here's Buckley on the left side, working against Sane. Step over move again, and Sane gives him nothing. McCarthy into the box. Sane poking at it with Yomosa playing the man. Sane out to the side to Stewart.
Sane, the big cat, looking like a defender there.
Ngobe. Sapula. Zama. Oh, sweet heel from Ngobe to spring and Zama all the way through. Quick attempt as Keller was coming out. And it won't go. Kobe Jones has been a part of all 3 goals today, Ty.
In the first half, 2 left-footed goals by Kobe Jones in the 36th and 43rd minute. What a day he's had, and you talked about dreaming you were on the field for the U.S. national team. What a dream cross by Kobe Jones into Claudio Reina. Claudio Reina probably had to pinch himself to realize how wide open he was with half the net to shoot at. Take the ball out of the air and build a 3-0 lead for the USA.
8th lifetime goal for Reina, and for Kobe Jones, his 15th national team assist. Chris Armas going long for Ben Olsen, who can create a lot down that left flank against Issa, who has to be tiring a little bit. Issa takes it. Olsen keeps it inbound. Olsen, the mad dog, on the ball. Back to Reggie. This is Reina. Reina looking for Stewart, making a run. Comes all the way across from McBride. Caroline rides McBride down. Play on. The ball runs out of bounds. It'll be a South Africa throw. McBride appealing to the call.
Pretty fair contact, shoulder to shoulder. McBride threw his body in knowing he was going to get some contact, so he shouldn't expect to get a call there.
Sane winning the ball in midfield. Here's Reina for Reggie. Challenge from Ukulele. They bang all the way into the corner for Olsen. He turns it back into the middle for McBride. Gets a piece of it. Here's Jones. Stewart scores! A rocket from Ernie Stewart!
The United States, without Robin Fraser, without Eddie Pope, without Joe Maxmore, through injuries mainly, what hustle by McBride first, then Kobe Jones, and a wicked finish by Ernie Stewart. The initial cross provided by Ben Olsen. McBride really fought to keep that one alive, and he just tees off on it. Ernie Stewart, that's got to feel good because that seals this game. A 4-0 lead for the USA.
That ball has a bruise on it. He caught that thing flush. What a flick-on volley by McBride, realizing he couldn't play it with the head and played it with the outside of his foot, reaching back to keep the play alive for the U.S.
It is a never-say-die attitude. Eddie Lewis is already off the pitch. The guy that came on for him, Benny Olsen, got that cross in. McBride didn't quit on it. Kobe Jones didn't quit on it. And it paid off with an easy chance.
What was what he also said was that this team will challenge for every ball. If I had to put one word on this U.S. team, I would say scrappy. This may be the scrappiest team in the world right now. How many challenges we've seen running guys down in midfield from behind, and that effort by McBride to keep the ball alive.
Jack, and performances like this make it more difficult for players that have long time been a part of the national team, like a John Harkes, like a Roy Lassiter, like an Eric Winalda, to get back into the game. And we're going to show you what Kobe Jones has done today. He scored 2 in the first half, both with the left foot. This one, you won't find much prettier ones than that. Reaching the upper corner. This is the second one in the 43rd minute of the first half. And here in the second half, in a easy put away, Kobe Jones involved in the first 3 goals for the USA.
The United States has made a substitution. McBride, after a great effort today, has come out, and Ante Razov, the leading scorer in Major League Soccer, has come on. Razov wearing number 15, that's him right there. He plays a little 1-2 with Armas, his Chicago Fire teammate. Fire will be without these 2 talented players in tomorrow's doubleheader at Soldier Field. Mexico and Ireland also play on that slate. There's Brian McBride, a couple of bruises. He's icing the ankle. Brought to you by Boatman. Now, the Buckley in traffic. Agus back to Casey Keller. With Rob Stone down below, Ty Keogh upstairs, I'm Jack Edwards. I hope you're enjoying this opener of US Cup 2000. This is our national team playing most entertaining ball for the loyalists who have come to RFA, then a Giants Stadium next Sunday, the Tuesday game on ESPN, and the Sunday game on ABC Sports. Kobe Jones working the right side against Rabudla. Here's Jones with 2 on the day and a couple of assists for Olsen. Pops it into the middle for Razov. Just couldn't quite get it to the foot for the shot. Sane wins it. Jones. Buckley takes it away for South Africa. A lot of room here. So they go long and hard counter. Armas with the shoulder. Buckley still with it. Cross for Ernie Stewart. Stolen from behind. Sean Bartlett wearing the captain's armband. Gobe. Kannemeyer. A little bit of pressure. Kannemeyer plays it for Rense. Bartlett up against Yamosa. Buckley. Yamosa with a hand in there, and he gets called for the hold. So South Africa gets the restart here in the 73rd minute. Going to get a couple of substitutions for South Africa. Take another look at Ernie Stewart. Rocket made 4-0.
And there'll be a look from behind the goal. The cross by Ben Olsen. Good by Brian McBride. And then Kobe Jones, another assist. There's the... Almost took out the camera there, Ernie. But Kobe Jones, the man of the match. So Ernie Stewart putting the finishing touch on goal number 4 for the USA. Kobe Jones, 2 goals, 2 assists.
Sapula and Olsen going up. Olsen going up and winning the benefit of the call. It's a restart, and it will come back. A couple of substitutions in for South Africa. Kamantarakis goes in for Benny McCarthy. And Laketo comes in for Kannemeyer. That's Razov. Very poised player from UCLA. Torreira in traffic with Armas. Working the combination back to Razov. Agus. Reggie. David Reggie looking for something up the sideline. Now chips it for Olsen. Brings it back from Armas. He has pressure from both sides, and Gobe takes it away. Now Razov runs down, and Gobe gets called to the push. South Africa has the restart. Ante Razov, leading scorer in Major League Soccer with 11 goals and 3 assists. Jason Price, also on this national team, but not in this game today, is the number 2 scorer. We anticipate seeing a lot of Price on Tuesday night in the ESPN game against Ireland.
Price is still available on the bench for the U.S. for this one.
Yamosa, who has been outstanding in the back, takes it away from Kenneth Reyes. Issa trying to chip it on through. Buckley. Reggie popping it up for the U.S. Out of the right. Nzama working on Olsen. Reggie, the second man, takes the ball.
You have to like the speed of Nzama when he gets forward. And the right back position is the number 2 for South Africa.
Reggie belts it out of bounds. South Africa will have the throw-in. Here's David Reggie. Reggie punching ahead for Razov. Issa cuts off the angle, gets it back for Orense. Here's Leketo. Steps past Bernie Stewart. Leketo. Up the wing for Sean Bartlett. Bartlett going 1-on-2 on Agus again. Knocking it out of bounds. Buckley quickly down into the corner against Armas. Here comes Sane. Sane picks his pocket. Called for a hold. Yeah, Buckley gets called for the hold.
Yeah, I thought Sane bumped Buckley. But it's still a joy to watch the South African team, a symbol of the unity of South Africa, where previously there was a separation of the races. You look at this team here, they've not had a good afternoon outing, but they've had some big successes in the African Nations Cup.
So many great South African players never got to play on the world stage because of what they refer to as the isolation era. And many of these players on the South African national team express their gratitude to the political leaders who have made the political revolution possible and brought democracy to South Africa. Claudio Reyna up ahead for Ernie Stewart. Stewart working against Issa. Leketo over to help out Stewart. Goes off his speed. Issa cleans him out. Stewart with a challenge and he pushes Issa. No love lost there, and this is going to require a little talking to from Antonio Marufo, the referee, over to cool off. He's going to give Stewart a yellow card. Ernie Stewart.
Now there's the frustration. Issa comes in and takes the ball, but he's really looking to get a piece of Ernie Stewart. And Issa, a player who in the '98 World Cup did not distinguish himself. In fact, he scored an own goal against the host country, France, in the opening game. He had a yellow card in the second game against Denmark, and in the third game for South Africa at the World Cup, he gave 2 penalties. Caused 2 fouls in his own penalty area, and that effectively eliminated South Africa. 2-2 tie against Saudi Arabia.
Jones is throwing for Razov, flicks it on for Olsen. Stewart in the middle, still loose in the penalty area. Olsen tries to turn around, volley, far post. Leketo heads it over the end line to take some pressure off for South Africa. The U.S. so strong in the air. We're talking about the political leaders and the gratitude. Sean Bartlett, the captain, invited Nelson Mandela to his wedding, and Mandela came. What an honor that was for him. Ante Razov looking for Reggie. Kobe Jones, 2-2 on the day. Against Nzama, and the ball didn't even move. Here's Jones across the ball. Just missed the volley. Kobe Jones is having a tremendous game and almost threaded the needle to Ben Olsen there.
And Reggie attempts a bicycle kick here. Little step by Kobe Jones, change of direction. He's so good with his body. Look at the ground. Look at Reggie going airborne, looking to have the goal of at least the month for the U.S. national team. And Olsen, in fact, might have been distracted by Reggie's bicycle attempt.
And the Reyna flicking it to Armas. Back to Reyna. Those two have had a terrific day. Stewart has a little space. Jones right. Soft going far post. Stewart Change of pace. Issa cuts it off and runs over the end line. It'll be a corner kick for the United States. Sent downstairs to Rob Stone. Rob?
Brian McBride joins us now, and folks have taken the shots at the U.S. offense lately. It's a bit of a safety game.
Yeah, it was good for us, you know. I wish I had a few, but my chances are coming still, and Kobe had some great space. The guys really putting the ball in the net. We're creating chances, so it's great.
So, Brian, thanks for your time.
Mario Reina's goal kick for Razov. Gobe heading it clear. Sane winning the ball. And step around by Reina outside of the foot flick for Razov. Razov working it across the middle. Regie collects. A lot of space. Chips for Olsen. Olsen angles it toward the middle. Rense is there. Andre Rense has been in a shooting gallery as the U.S. has found its offense. Reiki against Agus. Agus turning it out of bounds. There's a little question about Agus' ability to stay with the pace of the South Africans, their ability to accelerate so quickly, but Agus has shined in his 100th career appearance for the U.S. national team.
He's working in tandem very well with his DC United teammate, Carlos Yamocha, to slow up the speed of that South Africa counterattack.
Settling it back in the defense, it's Raputla. Issa, back to Lorenzo. Raputla.
Jack, in those years when South Africa was banned from international competition, some South African players made their way to the United States to play in the North American Soccer League, and have since gone back and done great things in South Africa. I mentioned earlier Ace Nesselenko. Jomo Somo went back, bought a team in the South African League, they called it the Cosmos, and Kaiser Motown went back and established a team in South Africa called the Kaiser Chiefs. And of course, Steve and Roy Wegerle, is a little background from South Africa. Steve Wegerle playing in the North American Soccer League for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and of course, Roy Wegerle becoming an American citizen and playing for the United States in a couple of World Cups.
This portion of the match is brought to you by Nike. Casey Keller looking long for Razov, flicks it on for Olsen. Issa wants Lorenze to play it, and the goalkeeper does. Dominant performance by the United States. Here, Issa. Long middle for Mavrakis, trying to flick on for Bartlett, and again, Keller way out. Here's Olsen. Arma. Regie. Playing it back for Agus. U.S. looking to change tempo, trying to find another one of those seams. Hard hit by Ngobe right in the middle of the field, knocking Ben Olsen down. And we're going to have a substitution. We talked about Jeff Agus, one of the longest lasting players in national team history. He's done it not only by constantly working at his game, but also by staying typically humble.
Hi, I'm Jeff Agus, defender, men's national soccer team. My nickname is Goose. I don't know how they got that. I actually just started trying to pick up the guitar. I like to come to computers and occasionally get on the golf course and try to hit as many cars as possible. Best part of my golf game is probably driving the cart. Yeah, I can definitely do that pretty well.
You can tell what a self-deprecating guy he is, and Jeff Agus, a lot of fun to be around. The United States has made a substitution. Ernie Stewart comes off, and that is Steve Ralston of the Tampa Bay Mutiny of Major League Soccer, who is into the game. This portion of the match brought to you by Tropicana. Here's Ben Olsen. Olsen, long for Jones! Oh, Arense comes out to deny Jones the chance for the hat trick. Monterekis is offside, 60 yards downfield, and the U.S. will have the restart. Play getting a little bit ragged here as we head toward those final minutes of regulation. There's Ernie Stewart. He murdered that ball on the volley for the fourth goal of the game for the U.S.
He got a goal, but he also got a yellow card, and I think one of the reasons he was taken off in this game was to avoid a second yellow, which obviously would mean the U.S. would play a man down here, but it would also mean that Ernie would miss the following game, which is USA-Ireland, Tuesday at Foxborough.
Ukulele up ahead for Sapula. Sapula with a little bit of room running away from Reyna. Sapula the cross, looking for Buckley, heads it back into the middle, Yomosa clears it. Armas, Ngome has a cannon, he lets it rip over the top. South Africa still can counter. With the Stanley Cup Finals on ABC Sports at 8 Eastern tonight, John Davidson answers your questions live at abcsports.com. On the Go Network. Game 3 Devils and Stars at Stanley Cup Final Series tied at a game apiece. The Dallas Burns, Jason Price is coming to the game for Kobe Jones. 2 goals, 2 assists. Spectacular day at RFK for Jones. Jones just one behind Marcelo Balboa for all-time appearances for the U.S. national team. This was Jones's 127th. Ngome for Kamatorekis, just being pushed out of the way by Yomosa, who looked as if he was trying to move a piano. Laketo settles quickly against Ralston. Buckley against Sane. Back to Laketo. Each team had 9 eligible substitute players for this game. A maximum of 5 substitutions by each side can be made during a U.S. Cup match. David Reggie winning another ball in the air. This one pops out of bounds. It'll be a South Africa throw-in. Reggie, 31 years old. 2 games before the '98 World Cup, became a naturalized citizen for the U.S. Vegas, Reggie helping him out. Keller will have to play with the feet. Jason Price flicks on for Razov. Sapula. Laketo out of the side for Buckley, showing some nice moves. Ralston running him down right away. There's that scrappiness for the U.S. national team. Sapula turning it around the perimeter, looking into the box. Agus heads it down for Olsen, who has a pasture in which to work. Agus looking for Razov, who's front running. Flicks it onto the side. Price, a little bit of a mishandle. Now for Olsen. Flag is up, and there's an offside against the U.S. South Africa dropping the offside line pretty high up. Ngome trying the chip long. Reggie popping it back for Keller. Mason Keller driving it up. Price, Razov. Razov stepping back nicely into the space for Ralston. He has Reyna up ahead, gives it to him, and Ngome on his back. Reyna pulls it back at the 18. Losing it on the feed attempt for Price. Isa walking it out. Buckley. Laketo. This portion of the match is brought to you by Allstate. Laketo. Zama. You haven't heard that much from him in the second half. The first half, he made a lot of runs like the one he's making now up the right sideline. And he gets the ball back, and Zama heads it forward. Zama closing. Curls it back, headed out by Yomosa. The All-State save of the day, Ty.
Well, a good defensive play there by Yomosa so that Keller didn't have to go for that ball. But earlier in this half, on a corner kick, watch Casey Keller with the All-State save of the day, pulling it down the ball in a lot of traffic, but cradling it well and bringing it in out of danger.
Taking a little artistic license there, as that actually wouldn't go down as a save, rather than a patch. That ball would not have gone into the goal. The ball that Yomosa headed out, knocked down onto the field from the crowd, and Bartlett volleying it back up 20 rows. Here's Keller again. Almost a replay of the replay. Olsen in midfield, brings it across. Nadia Reyna. On the right for Razov, but Laketo alertly steps up. Razov grabbing the shirt. Play on. Laketo. Flick on by Buckley. Sane controlling him. Buckley just grabbing Sane, and Sane letting him run out. It's a throw in for the U.S. 89th minute at RFK Stadium. Chris Armas. Razov. Back for Ralston. Austin has Price making a run toward the sideline, brings it back for Armas. Armas gets it for Price, gets the foot right up. Sane now belting it long for Olsen on the far side. Zama wins the ball away. Kalele takes it away from Reggie. Agus goes tumbling down. It'll be a throw-in for South Africa.
Pretty solid play at the back by all of the USA defenders. Reggie, Yamosa, Agus, and Johnny side.
Reggie trying to flick it away. Now Reyna. Razov with Price making the run straight forward. Price turns it back for Armas.
So it looks like it'll be a shutout for the USA. And Casey Keller did not have all that much to do. A few long-range attempts out of midfield for South Africa. A couple of dangerous counterattacks in the first half with the speed of Eddie McCarthy and Sean Bartlett.
Armas for Price, play on. Lacheto heading it hard back for Lorenze. In the 90th minute at RFK Stadium. Lacheto. Breakers. Sane stumbling and pushing. Pull away after the restart. Had some big shots today. Now trying to chip. Ralston getting back defensively. Lacheto away from Price. Gobe. In the final seconds, the USA chant at RFK. It's got to sound good to the ears of American players who have not always had great fan support here at home. But the wave, the groundswell is beginning to build. Gobe, Keto. We're in stoppage time in the second half. 2 goals, 2 assists for Kobe Jones. Claudio Reyna and Ernie Stewart also with markers for the U.S. today. It's over. The United States has opened U.S. up 2000 with a resounding 4-0 whitewash for Casey Keller. Showing out from South Africa. Brian McBride, a fine effort. Jeff Agus the same. We'll be back to RFK to wrap this one up. So come back with us on ABC Sports.
How U.S. gymnast Vanessa Adler eats her Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
There's no wrong way
to eat a Reese's.
Hello? What's happening, V? What's that?
Hold on, baby. Okay. Hello?
What's that? What's that?
That was hot! Did you see that? Yeah, that was hot. Run. See Texaco run. Visualize, hypothesize, explore, and relentlessly search. And find the energy the world needs to run. Run, world. Run. Texaco. A world of energy.
Okay, so you're not a brain surgeon. You're not married to one man. You haven't even paid off your car loan. Hey, why don't you hang out with someone who doesn't care about any of that stuff? A kid. Become a mentor. Put children first.
U.S. Cup 2000 underway with a 4-0 win for the United States over South Africa. The U.S. beginning round-robin play. It also will play Ireland and Mexico in this tournament. But what a way to begin. Let's send it down to Rob Stone with a man who has 2 goals in the match. Rob?
Well, the biggest no-brainer of the day, Kobe Jones, our Chevrolet player of the game, $1,000 donated in your name to the U.S. Soccer Foundation. You and I are just talking. It's been a while since you've had that much fun in an international game. You still got a smile on your face.
Oh, yeah. You know, a game like that where everything seems to be going your way, you get a couple of goals, a couple of assists, you know, you got to be happy about it.
2 goals, 2 assists for you. What was the difference? Because a lot of people have been taking some pot shots at the U.S. offense, and you thought they were way off track.
Yeah, I think they just took one game, you know, the game against Russia where players are traveling in 2 days. You know, it's almost 12, 13 hours ahead. You know, that was a tough game for us. We didn't score goals. Before that, we had scored in the Gold Cup, and everyone said, oh, no, we're in trouble. It was only one game.
Now, on a personal note, Kobe and I were talking before the game. There's a fan somewhere over there who's not a big fan of yours. What's his deal again?
He's like my personal Reggie Miller, Spike Lee, you know, just somebody that always heckles me. He heckles me during DC United games. And, you know, thought he'd cheer for the U.S. and be happy for him, but once again, he's heckling me here on the U.S. team.
Nothing to heckle, just cheers for Kobe Jones. Kobe, congratulations.
Thank you.
Rob, thank you. A great day here at RFK Stadium. The final score again, the United States 4 and South Africa 0. Both of these teams, of course, continue play in U.S. Cup next Sunday at 1 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ABC Sports. The U.S. plays Mexico. That's 1 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ABC Sports, the climax of U.S. Cup 2000. Jeff Vegas with his 100th career international appearance. Casey Keller rock solid in the back. Kobe Jones with a couple of blistering bombs to become the first American player in 2.5 years to score 2 goals in a game. For Rob Stone and Ty Keogh and our ABC Sports crew, I'm Jack Edwards. ABC Sports is online at abcsports.com, part of Go Network. So long from RFK, everybody. The U.S. wins.